It's your boy Eileo, and welcome back, you guys. In today's video though, we're going to be taking a look at D'Artagnan, who surprisingly I haven't covered on the channel at all, and big shout out to T over there on the Discord for bringing that up, because I was going through the other side of YouTube, which is the YouTube studio, and searching through like my playlist of all the monster reviews, which if you guys haven't checked out, by the way, feel free to check it out, and he wasn't up there, even though he's been around probably roughly 2 or 3 times from my memory here. So once again, shout out to T, and let's go ahead and dive right into the video, you guys. Alright, so diving into D'Artagnan here, hopefully I'm pronouncing his name correctly, we have the fire version of Mr. D, as I will call him going forward here, and he's an attacker type. He's coming in with 27k HP, nearly 3.1k attack, and then 2.4k defense, and he's also a nat 4. I had to double check there at the corner of my eye. I was like, hold on, these are some high stats for a nat 3. Stat distribution is okay. But keep in mind, this Mon in general is like the dog version of Gatito, who's obviously, you know, based on a gato, which is obviously just a cat. But just in case you don't know, that's some of the lore going on with this guy, at least in terms of MSL here. And taking a look at his skills, for his 3-star skill, he has defense down, which grants 80% chance to reduce the enemy's defense for 2 turns. And then for his 5-star skill, he has thirst, which grants 100% chance to reduce the target skill gauge by 20% for 2 turns. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right here, because he's single target, there is literally very niche uses for him, and regardless of where you're using him at, unless it's like the Elemental Tower of Chaos, if you do need to single target Astromon, spoiler alert, Gatito is going to be your go-to if you have access to any single target Astromon in the game, at least at this point here. So his kit isn't bad because he's more geared towards like debuffing the enemy and preventing them from acting. But literally, just imagine wasting your 5-star skill as Thirst on one single target. I mean, yeah, it's 100% chance, but literally, can you imagine that? With books though, defense down does receive a 20% damage increase, and it goes up to 90% for 2 turns, and Thirst also receives a 30% damage increase. This still doesn't change anything, because look, he's also an attacker, which, okay, you can have defense down on a Mon, I get that, but it should synergize with something. Thirst doesn't really synergize with defense down, at least in my opinion, for someone as frail as he is. So this version of him is definitely just for the Astro Guide. Alright, and then coming in next though, we do have Water Mr. D, and I haven't gotten any of these, like the RGB, at least the freaking Evo 3. I need to work on that with him actually being here. But anyways, he's a tank type coming in with 35k HP, 2.3k attack, and then 2k defense. He's a tank, plenty of HP, but that defense is just absolute garbage. That defense is worse than an attacker. Like, what is going on here, dude? Like, they seriously don't want anyone to use these, and if you use them, I mean, I'm not gonna judge you, but you're probably not subscribed to the channel, so go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. But anyways, taking a look at his 3-star skill, it's attack down, 80% chance for 2 turns, and then there's also fatigue for the 5-star skill. I'm not going to beat a dead horse here. Let's go over here to his books, which attack down receives a 20% damage boost and goes up to 90% for 2 turns, and then fatigue also receives a 30% damage boost. So the reason why I said that I'm not going to like beat a dead horse here is because attack down and fatigue, this is literally the fire version of Mr. D, who's already bad, and literally made him a water type and made him even worse. That's just it. I haven't seen any player since the dawn of MSL use fatigue other than maybe like the first 3 months, which I wasn't even playing the game by then. So by the time that fatigue was already on its way out, a lot of us haven't even started the game yet. That's how bad fatigue is. Just erase fatigue from the game or change its mechanics completely. And with him being a single target too, well, once again, it's none of my business if you want to roll in with your water D, but hey, that's up to you. Following in after that though, we do have the wood version of him, who is a balanced type coming in with nearly 30k HP, 2.2k attack, and then 2.4k defense. So I see what they've done there, you guys. He has an equal distribution, but he's still rendered as just utter and complete garbage. And this guy right here, he's coming in with Recovery Seal as his 3-star skill, which has 80% chance to disable the enemy's recovery, obviously for their HP for 2 turns, and then for his 5-star skill, he has a 100% chance to stun an enemy for 1 turn. 5-star skill, single target Astromon. Dude can't even get 2-turn stun? Or does books change that? Okay, books do change that. I was gonna say, oh my god, but still, imagine having to spend all of your freaking gold, even though I have a decent amount of it, into like dumping skill books into this guy to get a 2-turn stun with recovery seal. I mean, due to his kit here, this could possibly be useful for you, especially in an area maybe like the Elemental Tide of Chaos, but don't really quote me on it. Outside of that though, once again, he's single target. If you're going single target, bring the heat. Don't bring a mon that can do a 2-turn stun, even if it's 100% chance guaranteed, because with that stat distribution and other mons out there that are just way better, especially with an AoE kit, like you're literally just playing yourself if you want to go in here and use him seriously. But by all means, you can go forth and prove me wrong, and I will hit auto on PvP and watch my Yukis just shock your Mr. D's until they die. Like, just FYI. Alright, so here, hopefully we have at least one of the 2 moneymakers for the D'Artagnan squad. Hopefully, but don't hold your breath here. But anyways, he is an attacker type, and he's coming in with nearly 25k HP, 3.2k attack, and then 2.2k defense. So a bit of a frail boy, but at least his attack stat is something that is workable with. And of course, it doesn't matter how good a mon stats are, because if their skills are garbage, well, no one's going to use them anyways. So let's take a look at these skills. So for his 3-star skill, he has morale boost, which grants 100% chance to restore his own SP by 50% when attacking. That's very good, because as a single target Astromon, you're relying on him getting his SP up very, very quickly to dish out damage from his 5-star skill, which, once again, if you're newer to the game, single target Astromon are like not even a dime a dozen. They're like a dime out of a freaking gigantic purse of coins, and all of those coins are probably quarters. That's how many single target Astromon are in the game, and with their 5-star skill being a single target one, they do have a slightly higher multiplier on their single target skill versus the AoE. But I would argue for 99% of the content, you really don't need single target anymore. Like back in the day, it was something spectacular, but nowadays you could probably use this for fun. But outside of using it for fun, there's really just no need for that. So smartstudy, give us some more single target Astromon content, please. But anyways, for his 5-star skill, he has Predator, which increases damage dealt by 40%. So if you are familiar with Gatito, by the way, he has a morale boost in Hunter. And do keep in mind though that Gatito not only has Hunter, but since he's a dark type, he has that additional crit damage. Now, since Mr. Light D'Artagnan is obviously a light type, he does have that innate higher crit rate, but 50% crit damage is just gonna beat him. I'm sorry, like, that's just how it is. But anyways, morale boost gets a 30% damage boost. Predator also receives a 20% damage boost, and it gets boosted up to 50% in terms of its passive skill effectiveness. So interesting right there. Finally, some books that are worthwhile and using for this guy, because the RGB, well, I don't want to talk about the RGB. And last but not least, we have the dark version of D'Artagnan, who is a defender type, and he's coming in with nearly 27k HP, 2.3k attack, and then 3.2k defense. So kind of a swapped stat version of the light one with the attack and defense, but that's okay because he's a defender, which should hopefully indicate that he has a lot of defense. Let's take a look at these skills though. So for his 3-star skill, he has Sap, which grants 100% chance to inflict the enemy with 2 types of saps for 1 turn. That is a bit of a yikers because it's 1 turn, but it is on his 3-star skill, so you could trigger it every single turn if you wanted to. And then for the 5-star skill, he has Defense Aggression, which obviously kind of synergizes nicely with him being a defender, because the stat that he's going to excel in the most is obviously going to be defense. I mean, I would hope so. But taking a look at books, it looks like Sap receives a 20% damage increase, which doesn't do anything, and then it also gets boosted up to 100% chance of Sap for 2 turns, which I think is a very suitable upgrade. It just sucks that you have to dump in your books to get that. Like, that's just not cool. And then Defense Aggression receives a 30% damage boost as well. Right off the bat, to me, he seems like he is, what is it, Dark Arthur, who has like pretty much just the same kit here. Obviously Dark Arthur's leagues better than him, even though I'm not really a big Dark Arthur fan, But okay, yeah, he has it switched with HP aggression and sap, not defense aggression, but same thing. So, I mean, if you wanted to use him somewhere, you could probably get away with using him in golems if you wanted to. But once again, you can just build a water sea star and use her instead, which is kind of sad because even though he's a dark mon and he does have sap on his 3-star skill, there's just better options, especially for a mon that comes around like once, like what, every 2 years. And this is what we get. We get sap in freaking defense aggression. Not saying that it's bad. Obviously, there's players out there that still use him till this day. And I'm not hating on you guys for that. You got to use what you got to use. And I love his design. But anyways, let's go ahead and wrap this video up, you guys. Alright, and to go and end things here, I'm going to end it giving you guys my hot take on all 5 of the D'Artagnans. Right off the bat, I can't really think of any usage for the RGB ones. Like, not at all. There's nothing I could see usable with them whatsoever. There's defense down and thirst. There's attack down and fatigue. There's recovery still and stun. You could argue that the wood one is possibly usable somewhere, but it's not really ringing a bell inside of my head. But in terms of like the ones that you guys should be going for if you want to use them, is without a doubt going to be light and dark, because with light being a single target too, I think in theory it's possible to use him towards the beginning of the Apophis dungeon if you want to go that route. So dimension defense, and obviously in a PvP situation if you have nothing better to use. But outside of that, it doesn't really strike, you know, a chord in me of where he could be used at. And then for the dark one as well, with sap and aggression, obviously there's better zappers in the game. If you want to rock him, even though water sea star is basically farmable, that's none of my business, but because at least he has defense aggression. At the end of the day, you could still possibly throw him in clan versus clan as a temporary slot until you get something better. But just to sum things up here nice and easy, I would say all of the D'Artagnans at the end of the day are pretty much Asher Guide only at this point until they receive some type of update, or once again I had hinted towards inside the video, like getting possible content where single target Ashermon are a bigger focus. But is that going to happen? Probably not. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.